On this episode of the History of the Chorus podcast with Curtis and Josh, we take a look at the history of the band known as Oh Sleeper. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcasting service you're using. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta, army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. That could be metalcore, hardcore, post-hardcore, emo core, apple core, zibbity-bobbity-doo core, even your core, your muscle core, bro. I'm Curtis.
And I'm completely taken aback.
Welcome to the show. Completely taken aback. Glad to have you today as a special guest host. My host, Josh, apparently is lost.
What's Zibbity Zobbity Doo core?
You've never heard of Zibbity Zobbity Doo core?
I heard
like
some
Bill
stuff
Cosby.
that sounded very like big band core-ish one time.
Zibbity, is it like that? You know what you're talking about, Zibbity Zobbity Doo core?
Yeah, it did sound similar to that.
Oh,
There's like this weird like scat part kind of in the middle where the guy was like zoobadee-ba-dop, zee-ba-doo, dee-ba-da-ba-doo, ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-doo-ba-dee. And then like went right back to heavy as fuck.
wow. I'm going to have to check this out because that sounds hilarious.
I can never remember what band it is because I think about it sometimes, but
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. I was just kidding around, but
it was around the Waking the Cadaver era of my life.
okay. Scat core. That's probably a thing, to be honest. Anyway, let's get back on track here. Today,
who
Josh,
are we talking about today?
we are talking about the band known as Oh Sleep. Sleeper. Oh Sleeper. What do you think,
I love
Josh,
Oh Sleeper.
about Oh Sleeper?
I love O Sleeper. Nobody knows about O Sleeper. If you're listening to this episode, I bet money that you don't know who O Sleeper is.
You're like, episode 4, Oh Sleeper. Who the hell is that? Does anybody know who Oh Sleeper is?
That is a band
Or-
they slept on.
Yes, they are slept on. Hence the name Oh Sleeper. They're talking to you, people. They're talking to you. Wake up and check out this band.
What was the first album you listened to by them ever?
Okay, so first album that I listened to by them, I think was Son of the Morning. But the first song that I ever heard from them was Vices Like Vipers.
Oh,
Yeah. I actually watched the music video. That was the first time I was introduced to him, was watching the music video for Vices Like Vipers. What about you?
okay. I didn't know who they were, and I saw them touring When I'm God, and yeah, that was awesome.
Tell us
Because-
about that concert, Josh.
It was a festival that they used to, I don't know, you call it a festival. It's not even a festival. It was just like a 2-day show that they used to do called Brutalocalypse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And yeah, it was at the other side. And yeah, I think it was pretty late, like the first day they played, like they were maybe the last band to play that night. And they didn't do it like in a headlining type order because like
Right.
a bunch of bigger bands had already played before them. Like by that time, there was hardly anybody there, like still like at the venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they they were playing When I'm God, and that album just goes so hard.
It's a good album. It's a good album. Let's get on into it, man, before we go too deep here. On albums and everything. Let's talk about their genre, Josh. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's just metalcore. Would you agree?
Yep, they're an easy band to nail down.
Metalcore.
Yeah.
Anyway, throughout their songs, there's a lot of, again, I know you're giving me some grief the last couple episodes. But yeah, we're still kind of going the trend here, at least for this episode too. The songs have a lot of Christian themes throughout the lyrics,
Yeah.
and that is a reflection of lead singer or lead vocalist Micah Kennard, I think Micah Kennard, his beliefs. But they have stated that even though, at the beginning they were all basically, Christians in a band, throughout the history, and the member changes and everything, there's a lot of people that have come and gone that, maybe not believe the same thing. So they really don't identify as a Christian rock band or anything like that. Which it's basically the same thing with the last two bands that we talked about, the Chariot and Norma Jean. So getting right,
there's there's some of those bands that just like they're not.
I don't want to be labeled, especially with that. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of like, if you get labeled as like Christian rock or just Christian in general, it's like a lot of people get turned off by that,
Well, sometimes it's even like a coincidental type thing. Like, Stick to Your Guns isn't a straight edge band, but
Right.
all of the guys are straight edge, and it's like not by
Right.
design. It was just like
It just happened to be that way.
That's the guys, like that's who they were when they, and some of them have like switched to that over time. But yeah, like I don't know, I think it could be similar. You start a band with some people, oh hey, you're a Christian, I am also Christian, so it's
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just
Just happens. Yeah.
just common values.
Right. Exactly. Yep. So they were formed in 2006 in Fort Worth, Texas, the Lone Star State.
Nearby. Some of that southern metalcore.
Oh, yeah. Deep in the heart of Texas. This band was started by Orion Conley and Lucas Starr. Both of those guys played together in a band called Terminal. And that band disbanded in 2006, right before they had started O Sleeper. And also guitarist Shane Blay. Josh, did you know at one point he was actually a part of the band Between the Buried and Me?
Yeah, but what was that before Alaska?
Yeah, well, I don't think he wasn't on any albums. And it was before, it was before Alaska. So the album before Alaska is Silent Circus. And so he was with them right before that album was recorded.
So just like probably like a founding member of the band, but
I don't think he was actually a founding member, actually, because he was only with them for like a year or two. And I think they started in 2000 and Silent Circus came out in 2003, I think. But yeah, he's not a founding member of Between the Buried and Me. I would consider him more of a touring guy. Yes.
Side note, I remember listening to Silent Circus. Do you prefer Silent Circus or Alaska? I really like Alaska. Like Silent Circus is good, but I really like Alaska.
Yeah, I would probably have to pick Silent Circus. I like Alaska a lot too, but I think all the way through I would pick Silent Circus from beginning to end. I love that album, man. That's one of those ones. There was well, actually Alaska was too. There was, when I was in middle school and I had my old Walkman, on the bus there was like, let's see, I think there was 3 albums that were in heavy rotation on the bus rides home, and that was Between the Buried.
Wait. Let me guess the other 2.
Okay, go ahead.
You're gonna say Between the Buried and Me, Alaska,
right?
Okay, and then Silverstein. No.
No.
Oh, okay.
The other one was
Bayside.
the no. One of the other ones was the Silent Circus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Alaska and Silent Circus were two of the three, and then there's one other one. Come on, man, you got this. You
Um,
got this. You know
I
me.
don't, I don't know. Yeah, at that time, I would have said like maybe Silverstein or
Because that
Bayside.
was middle school was 2005, 2006. So think about albums that came out around that time. I think this album that I was this third album that I was listening to, I think came out in 2006. I'm pretty sure.
What's the label?
Like what record label?
Yeah.
Solid State. Or no.
Mm,
Tooth and Nail, I think. Which they're basically the same thing.
was it Under Oath?
Yeah, Define the Great Line, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Silent
Oh
Circus,
God.
Alaska,
Define the Great
and
Line.
Define the Great Line. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those are the three heavy in rotation. Those weren't the only three, but they were my main goes back then on the bus
Oh
rides home
God.
from
When we
school.
do an Under Oath episode,
Whew. It's gonna be a
that's
heavy
gonna be a
one, man.
tough one. I don't listen to any of like the newer stuff.
No,
It
I
just doesn't
I
feel the same.
tried listening to
It's like anything past
Primroses.
disambiguation is not the
Yeah,
same.
whenever they came back and like Aaron joined again, and yeah, after Disambiguation, wherever that album's called, where they kind of went off the beaten path, I was like, I gave it a shot, and I was like, this is not, I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they've got another new one out too.
Yeah.
But
Did you see that they did at like a show the other day? They played
When the Sun Sleeps,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they said we're not going to play this ever again. I was like, come on, guys,
Well, he
really?
said I think he just said that they never play it. He was like, we never
No, but the
play.
one the one that I've seen, I don't know if it's the same video or not, but it was recent. Spencer said, it's been so many years since we played this song live, and we're not going to play it. This is the last time that we're playing it because he said, if you got a phone, get your phone out because this is it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, ugh, I hate when people do that. I know, like we're getting way off topic here, but I just want to say,
I
like
don't even care
Paramore.
that there's gonna be a lot of this podcast. Like a lot of this podcast is gonna be us like going off the rails talking about another album that was really good or this
From
other band
somebody
that did
totally
so
else
yeah,
that we're even talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're not
But
here for
like,
that, then you know, this is probably not the one
yeah.
for you.
But like Paramore, I know, I don't know. They may not even be together anymore. I don't know.
I don't think
Anyway,
so. I think they're together.
okay, several years back, they were doing the tour, and I get it because like probably every single show that they probably play Misery Business, and they finally like stopped playing it, and they said, "This is the last time we're playing it. We're never going to play this song again." And I get that because like you probably play it every single show every night, But I don't know. It's just kind of something like that. I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of felt weird the way that they
Well,
were like, we're never going to play this song. We're never going to play When the Sun Sleeps again. And maybe it's a deal of like, we don't believe in the meaning of the lyrics anymore. I don't know.
yeah,
But then at the same
and
time, it's
they're
like, it
not.
wasn't even you that wrote it. It was
I was gonna say
Dallas
that's
Taylor from
not
Mailing.
even. Yeah, that's not even the same band. You know,
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who wasn't it? Just like Chris and Aaron then?
That's still in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Cause I don't think Tim was in there yet. I think Tim's first album was We're Only Chasing Safety, wasn't it? Guitarist.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think Chris and Aaron were the only two that were in it then. Yeah, that sounds right.
Plus, a lot of times, like a song that's really popular from a band, the band hates it. Like that's one of their least favorite songs to
This is
play,
true.
and
Yeah.
it's not even just
Well,
repetition, but they just
right.
they don't like that song, you know?
And that's what happened with Paramore too. Maybe they just got to the point where it's like, I hate this song,
Yeah.
you know?
Plus, isn't okay? Yeah, yeah. I was thinking of I was thinking of Ignorant for a minute, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially with a band like Paramore, that just gets kind of messy. She wrote a lot of songs because she was dating the lead guitarist from that band for a long time,
Yeah.
and she wrote a lot of the songs on the
That next album,
what album is that? Brand New Eyes, I think.
is it Brand New
Um,
Eyes?
yeah, she wrote a lot of the songs on there about him. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's and he's not in the band anymore, but he was for quite a while after that.
He was on that album.
Yeah,
You think he has a favorite song off that album?
they're probably all equally horrible for him. Any one of them that's not about him.
This album sucks. If there is one. What band are we talking about?
End of sidebar. Back to Sleeper.
Sidebar. Yeah. I don't
We
even
got
remember
as
where I
far.
left off
We
here.
got as far as
Oh,
Shane Bay being in between
stupid
the
Shane
very
Blay, man. Okay. Anyway, so 2006, it was started in Fort Worth, Texas by Ryan Conley, Lucas Starr, who were together in a band called Terminal, which disbanded in 2006 also. And they were joined by their friend Shane Blay, who previously was in the band Between the Buried and Me. Let's not get off topic again. Then shortly after that, Micah Kennard joined as the lead vocalist. Again, Josh, it's 2006. iPhone hasn't even been invented yet. Internet's a big thing, but not as big as now, and being able to connect with people kind of like what we're doing right here on Zoom. So
it was like instant messenger and shit then.
basically, yeah, AOL, stuff like that.
MySpace.
So yes, MySpace. So just like any new band, they had their problems. They had no place to practice. They had no money, obviously, to pay for a place to practice if they wanted to. And, all the members had, different schedules to work around. And that's where I kind of get back to what I was just saying about, the internet and iPhones and different stuff like that. You look at it now, it's like, man, everybody's got, if you get a Mac, you got GarageBand built in on there. You just got to buy a couple of audio interfaces, whatever, to connect your guitar or bass or whatever. And there's a lot of people now that talk about they're in bands that they'll record like, ideas individually and then send it out via the internet to other members. And then they all just kind of converge on it and work kind of through distance practices to create a song. Whereas like back then, it's like you had to be together. I mean, there was no two ways about it. Even if it was just like two guys together, a bassist and drummer or guitarist and bassist or whatever. Yeah, you guys had to be at least in the same room back then. So I mean, they definitely had their troubles, but they obviously figured it out along the way. You just kind of got to stick through it. Also, James Irwin, who was also a part of the band Terminal, which we just talked about just a little bit ago, would come in and fill in the final roster spot. So our official lineup here to start off, Josh, is Micah Kennard on vocals and programming, Shane Blay on guitar and clean vocals, James Irwin on guitar, Lucas Starr on bass, and Ryan Conley on drums. 2006 is going to bring us the first EP from this band called the Armored March EP, released by One Records. Have you heard this one, Josh?
No, I haven't heard the first EP.
Okay. I mean, you're not really missing anything because it's 5 tracks and all 5 of those tracks are going to be re-recorded to be put on When I Am God. And they're actually under the same exact names as they are on When I Am God. So they're 2 Flagship, The End of a Dark Campaign, His Name Was Bishop, The Siren Song, and We Are the Archers. And there was actually the first music video was produced off of this album for We Are the Archers. And this album was met with positive reviews, dude. What?
I'm gonna meet it with a positive review right now. To
Let's hear
Flagship
it.
is so fucking good.
It's good, man. It's good. It is really good. Like I said, this album was released by One Records. Never even heard of them, but quickly the band would be noticed by. We're on a trend here for the first three bands that we're talking about, Josh. All three bands are with Solid State Records. Oh Sleeper is no different. They would join Solid State Records in 2007, releasing their first full length album. I've got a feeling this might be your favorite album, Josh, by this band, When I Am God from Solid State Records. What do you think about this album, Josh, in
This
1,000 words or less?
this is my favorite album. Yeah, it just comes in super hard with Vices Like Vipers. And then I can't remember
It goes
what
out hard too, man.
dude, this album goes pretty hard through the whole thing. It only
Yeah.
like slows down a little bit, I think, on the Color Theft. It might be like Siren Song and Color Theft. It slows down a little bit, but then
Yeah.
to Flagship, like brings it back so hard. Yeah,
Yes.
End of a Dark campaign is really good. They do, I don't know if it's some kind of effect or something, but the very end of the song, whenever it all sounds like it sounds like it's going backwards, but it might just be because they've like changed up like the order there of the original riffs. But yeah, like it goes out really hard. It's like one of those endings to an album where you're like, oh my God, it's over. Are you checking the
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good ending. I don't think it's going backwards or anything, but they kind of change it up a little bit, obviously. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good album from head to toe and everything between, man. It's a good album. This is actually going to be the last album with founding member Ryan Conley on drums. And like I said just a little bit ago, it features 5 re-recorded songs from the EP. New songs, though, they're going to be on this album for the first time. Vices Like Vipers, I Will Welcome the Reaping. Reaping, excuse me.
The Reaping.
Reaping. Sound like a chainsaw. Charlatans host the Color Theft, Building the Nations, and Revelations in the Calm. Would you agree, Josh? It was met with favorable reviews, or would you give it a couple of thumbs up? Would you take your shoes off to give it a couple of big toes up, also? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think this is their strongest album.
okay.
Like this,
No.
When I Am God is their strongest album.
Okay. But do you think it's their peak?
I don't know. They still go on to put out at least a couple more before they're out for a few years. You know,
Right.
Son of the Morning is still really good. Children of Fire is good. It just kind of starts to go down a little
Start
bit.
going down just a little bit. Yeah. Took it down just a notch.
Yeah. And then when they came back with the Titan EP, yeah, it just kind of like it felt weird.
What do you think about the artwork on When I Am God? What is going on?
I don't know. There's like a pile of bodies, isn't there?
There's a pile of bodies and then like a dude in like a white cloak. So it's supposed to be like the angel of death or something.
In the world, like everything's like destroyed and shit. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I was always been kind of confused by that.
It's like a bunch of dead scene kids, though.
The scene is dead.
Yeah, and then after that, they kind of start to have a similar. They start using that like half pentagram.
Yes, yeah, that comes up on the next album here. So yeah, that's When I Am God. Like I said, Ryan Connolly leaves the band at this time. He will be replaced by Matt Davis on drums. 2009, Josh, Son of the Morning. I wrote down Song of the Morning. I don't know how that happened. Son of the
Song
Morning.
of the Morning.
Song of the Morning. The
Sir
birds are
Arthur
chirping.
Dane, the sword. This I was gonna say the sword of the morning. The sword
The
of the
Sword of the
morning.
Morning.
Sword.
2009's Son of the Morning, released by Solid State Records. This will be the first and only album with Matt Davis on drums, and the last album for Lucas Starr on bass. At this time, the band wanted to stay with the same sound of the last album, but they said they wanted their lyrics to be a little more straightforward and to the point on the previous than what it was on the previous album. What do you think about this album, Josh? Son of the Morning.
I like Son of the Morning.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Oh, I thought you said I don't. I was like, what?
No, I do. It kind of like the title track, Son of the Morning, comes in pretty hard. Other notable ones for me on this one are probably I do like New Breed. Breathing Blood. World Without the Sun. And the finisher is pretty good too.
The World Without the Sun, that was actually the first song that I was introduced off of this album. A friend played it for me when I was driving him home from school one day. And just that opening line, I was just like, holy crap. The hell is this?
Like he comes in so hard, it's just the vocals and then that guitar solo like underneath it.
It's a sick song, man, from beginning to end.
And that's the thing, people don't give Play enough credit. Like he's a stupid good guitarist.
Yeah, so good.
And he's always just like shredding.
Well, and then not even that, but it's like he's such a good guitarist, and then he can top it off with like a really good vocal instrument to back it up too. It's like, geez, man, what can you not do?
And there's probably just as much clean vocals in Oh Sleeper as there are screams,
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So yeah, he's
this is
huge part of that band.
Yes, yeah, big part. I think they both are, because I feel like, and I say both, I mean him and Micah Kennard, because I feel like Micah's vocals are they're so raw, but they're like they feel like not like they feel raw, but they feel clean and like tight, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, just like he's so different.
It's very iconic. Like he has a very iconic voice.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
like there's a lot of vocalists that you play me just like a couple words of them singing or screaming, and I could tell you who that is.
Right. But yes,
he's one of them for sure.
Yeah. So this is a concept album by the band that describes the final battle between the devil and God and the aftermath of such battle. Songs again include Son of the Morning, In All Honesty, which features Cody Burnett from As Cities Burn, one of my favorite bands. Reveries of Flight, A World Without the Sun, A Banquet for Traitors, and the finale, The Finisher. This album was met with high praise, and going back to what you were just talking about just a second ago, Josh, this album is going to be the first album to feature the band's adopted logo of a broken pentagram, which the band has stated is said to reflect the final lyrics of the album from the song The Finisher, where it says, "I'll cut off your horns." So it's basically saying that the pentagram, obviously upside down, so will have the two star points at the top, basically breaking those off like the final line says. Again, this is Matt Davis's last album. He is going to be replaced by Zach Mayfield on drums, and Lucas Starr is going to be replaced by Nate Grady on bass. That takes us, Josh, to 2011's Children of Fire from Solid State Records. This is going to be the last album for guitarist James Irwin, the first album for both Nate Grady and Zach Mayfield. What do you think about Children of Fire, Josh?
I still like this one. This is one that I will still listen to every now and again.
It feels.
Main-
I feel like they've gotten like okay. If you take When I'm God, Son of the Morning, and Children of Fire, I almost kind of feel like it's like the tones almost kind of gets like darker and darker and darker.
Yeah. No, it totally does.
It's yeah, because I feel like by the time you get to Children of Fire, it's just like, yeah, this is dark.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of reflects the background of the album with the concept of it and everything, which is basically picking up from the events from after the events of the last song on Son of the Morning, and it's basically kind of the aftermath of now, the devil and God are basically gone, and the world's just kind of left kind of in darkness. This album actually follows two people, a priest and his atheist daughter, whose lives actually seem to cross paths. And through the album, the priest loses his faith while the atheist daughter finds her faith in the aftermath of the final battle. But back to what you were saying, Josh.
Yeah, and then this one's supposed to be like him believing that God is dead after
Right.
all of that, and
Right.
then him like through her kind of finding his way back to what she found.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna start going through a couple of the songs I like.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing I was going to say was two of the songs on this album are actually based on true events. Those two are Hushaya, which is about the murders committed by Samir Kantar at the age of 16, and Dealers of Fame, which is about, I'm going to butcher this, I know it, but the Dnipropetrovsky Maniacs, which was a killing spree by two young boys in Ukraine in 2007 from June to July. Go ahead, Josh. Tell us what you think about some of these songs.
In Seekers is really good. Marriage of Steel and Skin.
Yeah.
Hushael, yeah, that's a good
Great
one.
song.
That's a pretty dark one.
Yeah.
Dealers of Fame is good. How do you feel about Means to Believe? I used to like it. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really go so much for me anymore.
I still like it.
Like, it's good. He's got a great voice, and it's a really good like guitar line. But
well, and the other thing too is like, think about it. This is the first time we're 3 albums deep, if you're not counting the EP. This is the first time that we've gotten acoustic songs. There's 2 on this album. There's that one, and then what's the one before Dealers of Fame? It's like really super short. Yeah. So I mean, this is the first time that we get like acoustic songs from them. So it's definitely a change of pace. Yeah, that's it. Conscious Speaks. So yeah, it's definitely a change of pace for what we're used to from Oh Sleeper, because it's just like hit you in the face from beginning to end. It may kind of slow down a little bit, but not acoustically until we hit Children of Fire and we get these 2 songs.
Yeah. I didn't think about that there are only these 2 on this album.
So what do you think? What do you think is different though, in like the way you're looking at it?
The song?
Yeah, like Means to
I don't know.
Believe.
Sometimes like a song
Just doesn't
just
feel-
used to, it just used to hit you a certain way, or I don't know, just it doesn't have, it's like watching a movie that you used to love, but just doesn't hold up now,
No, I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, it's good.
Mhm.
There's like elements of the song that I recognize are really good, but it just doesn't hit as hard for me as it did
Right.
when maybe I was, first listening to the album the first few times through.
I
But
hear
that's
you.
the thing
Yeah,
about
I
their
hear you.
albums. You really got to listen to them in their entirety,
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, especially with this one and the last one, because they they do tell a story all the way through. I was going to ask you too. Since you're a big fan of When I Am God, is there a concept to that at all? That album? It
I
feels like
think
it is. There's a part. I think it's either the second to last song or the third to last song where he references like several other track list names in that song. And so I
yeah,
was starting to think, I was like, is there a concept to this album? Because I guess I never really thought about like there one being before.
yeah.
But then I think
I
that's when I was kind of looking at the album artwork too, and I was like, there's got to be something to this.
It always felt to me like there was. Like I could always kind of clearly picture this like story. I mean, it feels similar to the concept of Son of the Morning. Like it feels very
Right.
warlike. Like it feels, I don't know, it feels like there's a bunch of like just really crazy stuff going on. Cause like Flagship seems like it's all about like being on like a ship in this, like in a storm.
With some flags. Get it? Flagship.
Um, there's here, vamp for me for a sec.
uh let's see. Oh, some of the other songs we didn't mention that were on this album. Shed Your Soul. Say that about 10 times fast. Shed your soul, shed your soul, shed your soul. There's also The Family Ruin and Chewing the Stitch. And again, this album was met with high praise. Like I said, James Irwin is going to be leaving the band. He is going to be replaced um, by. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay. So, like I said, this is no, never mind. Just forget all my stupidity here. James Irwin is going to be leaving. Like I said earlier, he's going to be replaced by Nate Grady, who was already a part of the band. He was playing bass, but he's going to switch from bass guitar to guitar. And Jono Erickson is going to be joining the band on bass. Go ahead, Josh.
I'm going to throw you some random lyrics from a few of the songs from When I'm God.
Okay, let's hear it.
From To Flagship. Every man must, or when wave meets foot, a ship's wreck will drown its crew. Every man must face his fears so he can be brave. Please turn this vessel back to Flagship so I can brave it. Hold fast and brave. Strip my pride, let no fault meet this hole. I know this reef's kiss, it cuts and sinks, draws me deep inside her. I won't fear, through swells we will reign free as sons of the first king. I'm going to throw you a couple from End of a Dark Campaign. I've been hit. Oh my God, the ground bursts and cold soaks my shirt. The clear river forms in my boots, and with a flash and rain of dirt, I've been met for the 100th time. Call the medic. This red crest on his head and a choice off his lips. 1,000 scars on my own chest, only to realize nowhere else was I hit. And then with your grip gloved by mercy, I was wrenched back to the storm. So yeah, so like more references to like Flagship, you know.
Right.
Lay dead or charge the line, another patch won't do, cut it from my chest and begin this run. And then that's not even on there, but at the very end of that song, he says, and I was ripped, or I can't remember if it's I was raced back to the start or I was ripped back to the start.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
There, like, yeah, and like you were saying, there's just so many references in this album to other songs.
Yeah. Oh, here. Okay. So in like Building the Nations, he says, let's see where to go. Let's see. Oh, I found your prints on a fleshy pulse. You made the waves to meet my foot, and all the siren songs that ring on and on and on. I watched your vipers bring down the bishop and bait the chains to leave me hit. Well, I've brought all the archers. We lit all the pyres, and we've come to destroy, rebuild. Yeah.
right? The Vipers, the
The
Archers,
Vipers,
and
the
the Bishop.
Bishop, yeah, and Siren
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it when they are able to intertwine songs like that and everything. But it just feels like I tried looking up is there a concept to this album, but I really couldn't get like a solid answer or even really find anything at all. You
Yeah.
know,
There's
whereas
yeah,
like
and
the
there's a
next
lot.
two albums are like, yeah, it's clear. There's definitely concept album or concept work to it.
Yeah. When like there's a lot of stuff that could be like metaphorical, but then there's a lot of other stuff like the lines at the end of "We Are the Archers,"
Mm.
where it's like, and then I heard an armored march. I heard an armored march that shook the trees, bow bent as they sang "We Are the Archers." Like, there's a lot of stuff
It's
like that that's
terrifying.
literal too. Yeah.
That is so terrifying. Golly. All
Yeah. And
right.
then like you said in what would you say, Birthing the Nations? Or
I
Building the
think it was
Nations.
rebuilding the nations or building the nations. Yeah.
Yeah, and that when he references like so many of those things.
Yeah. It's a good album, man. It's a really good album. Okay, so here we are. They just finished Children of Fire in 2011. Their contract with Solid State Records has run out. And they have decided at this time that they want to release a new EP independently. Now, this band decided to use the website Indiegogo fundraiser to raise the money for their EP. Their goal was $30,000. Josh, do you have any guess of how much money they actually raised?
Were they raising money to put this album out?
Yes, well, basically to get the time to record it, produce it, mix it, yada yada yada, and even be able to independently release it. And their goal was $30,000.
10,000.
No, they got $54,577.
Oh, they got more than okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually got more. And the band actually stated that they got enough that they could actually record 2 EPs with all the money that was given on the fundraising site. We've only gotten one of those EPs, so I wonder if there's supposed to be another one coming out soon or what. There may be a reason why we didn't get the second EP, and we'll talk about that here in just a second after this next EP. But 2013 would bring us the Titan EP, which again would be released independently. And this is going to be the last album for guitarist Nate Grady and the last album for bassist Jono Erickson. Again, kind of like the last 2 albums, and more than likely like When I Am God, this is a concept album. This album is about a company taking over the world, offering mechanical organs or even knowledge for time contracts in return, where one must do the bidding of the company Titan. If you die and you have a time debt still intact with the company Titan, it actually transfers over to the next of kin. Josh, you look like you have a question.
That's a lot to cover in like 5 songs.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And they're not like super long either. Yeah.
You got to keep it simple. Like right. Devil Wears Prada did. This one's about
That's exactly
zombies.
what I was thinking, man.
This one's about space.
Exactly. Yes. So the songs, let's go through the song list here. The first one is called
What the fuck was that?
What? What do you mean?
Just that description of.
You want me to read it again for you?
Please don't. Of everything this album.
So a company is taking over the world, offering mechanical organs. No, the first song off of this album is called Naofumi Mitsushashi. Say that about 20 million times. That is actually the name of this track list, or this song has nothing to do with the album. It is actually in reference, kind of like what we talked about in the last episode with the Chariot on their Long Live album, where they named a couple of songs after some real life people that won a contest with them. This song is actually named after the person who was the largest donor for this EP. I would like to know how much he actually donated. But yeah, then you also have the pitch, which features Casey Sabol from Periphery. Never even heard of him or that band.
It's Periphery.
Periphery.
Oh my God, you just pissed off so many people.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
geez.
It's Periphery, and they've been around a while, man.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus. Oh boy.
Screw it. I'm sticking with it. Casey Cibola, Periphery. Oh, geez. Are they really? You've really heard of them
been
before?
around that long? Yeah, I know Periphery.
Okay.
But they
You mean
they have a
Periphery?
couple of guys also
gosh.
in the Holy Guile. That's like another band of theirs.
I apologize. I was not prepared to say that name. Casey Sabol is featured on this track, The Pitch. He is from the band. I really want to say
Periphery.
it so bad.
Peripheries.
What the hell is a periphery, man?
You tell me.
No, man. Oh, okay. From the band Periphery, not Periphery. Could be mistaken for Periphery. It's very easily mistaken for Periphery, but it's the band Periphery. Oh gosh. Okay, this song. You thought, okay, let me just go ahead and tell you, Josh. You thought the main concept for that I read to you about this album is confusing or crazy. Just wait till we get through some of these songs here. So this first track or second track, The Pitch, is about a blind boy who gets new eyes from Titan because he dreams of being an aviator pilot.
Okay.
So he's got that time contract, right? So we see what happens with that in the next song, Death from Above, featuring Jackie Vincent. I know this name of this band from Falling in Reverse.
Okay.
I don't know how I would be able to screw that one up, but it's, there's a possibility.
Failing in Reverie.
Reverie. Very fairy. Oh, geez. Okay, anyway, so Death from Above continues on with the aviator boy who works his 6-year contract off for the company Titan by hunting people who are fleeing from their time debts in their contracts with Titan. So he's basically a bounty hunter, basically for Titan, a aviator bounty hunter. He's the Red Baron.
Okay.
The next track is called Heavy Hands, where the boy's new eyes that he got from the company Titan malfunction, which leads to a crash in his plane, and he is captured and tortured by the rebels, basically the people who are fleeing from their time debts. And he is also sent back to Titan basically as a message, but is given a new heart by the company Titan, which actually adds 18 more years onto his time debt. And as the song ends, the words from one of the rebels that he talked to rings through his head. What would happen if nobody resisted the Titan? In the finale song, The Rise, the boy flees Titan and shows loyalty to the rebellion by cutting out his eye that was given to him by Titan. And his spirit and body are willing as he sees the rebel flag of a scorpion grasping the broken pentagram. What the hell?
There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on.
Tell us, Mr. Casey Sabol from Periphery, what is happening? No, I mean, this album was met with high praise. So, I mean, it's
Well,
like
I think
said,
people were just glad that they were back.
This is true. Well, but they're not. This is right before their hiatus.
I mean, it's like 4. Well, this is 4 years in between albums, though.
No. This is 2 years. 2
Oh,
years.
okay.
Between,
No, Children of the Morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Children of Fire came out. Okay.
Yeah, and then this is 2013. Okay. So, like I said, it's a good album. It's definitely not one of my favorites. It's different. But yeah, that's Titan. 2013's Titan. All right, 2014 is where things get a little crazy. I guess if you want to say crazy, you be the judge. 2014, Josh. Let's talk a little band called As I Lay Dying. You want to?
I don't know if I want to talk about them in 2014.
Yeah. So this is
That's what it
so
gets-
weird.
That's what it gets
Man,
messy.
I remember when it came out that with their vocalist, gosh, Lambesis, I don't know, Perry Ferry. In 2014, he is sentenced to prison on a charge of hiring a bounty hunter to basically kill his wife. That's just crazy. It was so weird because I can remember like reading that when it first came out. I was just like, what? It's just so crazy to think about that. But you just never know, man. You just never know who's going to do what in life. But anyway, in 2014, when that sentencing was handed down to Tim, the remaining members of As I Lay Dying put the band on hiatus in its uncertainty of the future and everything. They decided to start a new band called Woven War, and they asked Shane Blay from Oh Sleeper to join their band to play guitar and vocals.
Sidebar, what's your
have you
favorite
heard-
As I Lay Dying album?
Oh, easily 90. Was it 94 Hours? Is that what the album's called? No. Frail Words Collapse. That's the.
Okay.
Is that the name?
Yeah.
Is that the album?
Frail Words is good. An Ocean Between Us goes hard as fuck too.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty good too.
I really like Shadows or Security too.
Yeah. I don't know. I just got to go. I got to go with the OG, man.
Yeah, Frail Words Collapse.
That was the first,
good.
especially like the first couple of songs, man, or first 3 songs, man. They hit so hard for me. They're just so good, especially that first one when it comes in.
Yeah.
Have you listened to Woven War before?
No.
Me either. I'll have to check them out sometime. Like I said, Nate Grady, who is the guitarist of O Sleeper, and Jono Erickson on bass, are both going to leave the band while it is in hiatus. They are actually going to leave the band in 2016.
Pussies.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that I mean, besides the fact that Shane goes and joins Woven War, and then these 2 members leave. There's really not a whole lot that goes on in this time of hiatus. We really don't. And we don't really know what's going on with Micah or Zach. So I mean, it's pretty quiet. So 2013, again, was the Titan EP. And 2019 saw a return to Solid State Records. So they actually released all of their full-length albums on Solid State Records, with the 2 EPs coming as either independently or a weird record company I've never even heard of before. But 2019 is going to bring us Bloodied and Unbowed, which was a long-awaited album. I think the first single that they actually put out from that ended up on this album was released in 2016, and they actually recorded this whole album over 2 years, 2016 to 2018, with the final year being mixing and everything.
I think it's Bloodied and Unbowed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very.
It's I think it's a reference to, is it I don't want to butcher this.
While he's looking that up, the only members who are actually on this album are Micah Kennard, vocals and programming, Shane Blay, guitars, bass, and clean vocals, and Zach Mayfield on drums. Yes, Josh.
It's from a poem by Ernest Henley.
Henley or Hemingway?
Henley.
Okay.
Yeah, Bloodied but Unbowed.
Okay. I'll have to look that up. Would you like to read that poem to us?
Would you like to know more?
Would you
Oh, I
like to
think
know
it's
more?
I think it's a
Or
longer
is it super
poem, but we
long?
can
Okay,
see.
if it's a long one, don't worry about it then.
I didn't even pull up the whole thing. No, it's short.
Okay, go ahead.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I think whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced, not cried aloud. Under my bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's from the
Nice,
second bit there. My head is bloody but unbowed.
Okay. That's cool. Did not know that. It's a good poem, though. You said you have not listened to this album.
I haven't. No.
What
I
are you
meant
doing with your
to-
life?
Yeah, I meant to whenever it came out, but that was also like pandemic time. So a lot of stuff just in general fell on the back burner.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because I mean it was kind of the same way too. As like, well, I knew that they put out a couple of singles from starting from 2016, and I listened to those at those times when they came out, and but like when they, excuse me, when they finally released this album, like I didn't even really know that they released it until like maybe this last year. And it just finally got around to being able to listen to it all the way through. I liked it. Like I said earlier,
Where would you
off the record,
stack it up? Off the
Oh,
record,
I
you what?
was just saying off the record, I had said that it's not their best album, but it's still a really good album. But you're asking me where would I put it among their full lengths?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it bottom of the list or does it sneak up above Children of Fire?
I don't know because it's right there with Children of Fire at the very bottom.
Okay.
And to be honest, is like that's one of those two where it's like I don't want to say either one because I don't feel like either one are like terrible.
Yeah.
They're both really good, but I definitely like the other two albums more than Bloodied and Unbowed and Unbowed. You said,
Yeah.
Unbowed. Okay, Unbowed,
Bowed.
and then
Bow.
Periphery. Man, I feel so bad about that, man. My apologies, Periphery. God, I feel like it. I feel like an idiot. But then at the same time, it was kind of funny.
It's hilarious.
Fairy, what the heck is that? Oh man. And the sad thing is like when I was doing my notes, like I knew it was Periphery. And for some reason when I was reading it just now, well, just a little bit ago, it's like it just came off as Fairy.
Did you read on
all my knowledge?
Did you read up on this one too? Is this one a concept album also?
Not that I could find, but I mean, I feel like it kind of is.
Like it's got a scorpion crawling out of that person's like bloody mouth.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it is. I feel like all their albums are. Even their EPs are. But yeah, no, I didn't find anything that actually said that there was or a description. Kind of like the EP.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sometimes with bands like these, there's just like not much information out there about specifics.
And I hate that because I hate that though, because like this is a really good band. There's like one of those I'm like, I want to know more. Would you like to know more? Yeah.
Everyone's doing their part.
Would you like to know more? Total Starship Troopers on it, man. Would you like to know more? Songs on this album include Decimate and Burial, Fisher, The Island, Oxygen, and the finale, The Summit. And this album was actually met with high praise. Okay. I didn't know this until this next fact. I didn't know this until just a couple of days ago. I stumbled across the song. So this is after the release of Bloody and Unbowed. Which kind of makes sense because they're from Texas, Fort Worth to be specific. But Josh, did you know that O Sleeper actually wrote a song for the Dallas Cowboys? And I'm gonna guess that the Cowboys used it somewhere, somehow, sometime.
What song?
It's called Cowboys. Go look it up real quick. It is what it is. I really thought it was just like, oh, this is just like a B-side song. And I started listening to it and I'm like, I think the song is about the Dallas Cowboys. And then they were like, yeah, Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, oh, it is about Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's so weird, man.
Can you hear it?
I can hear a little something. Just every once in a while. Oh, now I can hear it all. We're gonna get copyrighted, man. Turn that off.
God damn, that is awful. That's just terrible.
Oh man, we're the Dallas Cowboys. Anyway, that is it, Josh. Their current lineup right now consists of Micah Kennard on vocals and programming, Shane Blay on guitar and vocals, Seth Webster on bass, and Zach Mayfield on drums. Josh, what do you think is the future of this band right here? Oh, Sleeper.
I could see them putting out another album. I mean, they're still touring. They're going to be here in like a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how old the band members are. I don't think they're super old. I don't think they're in their 40s, do you? Say 30s. But I could see them. Yeah, I could see them still going. I don't feel like, we talked about Norma Jean. We kind of gave the question of, do you think Norma Jean would still be here in 5 or 10 years or whatever? And I feel like with his age, Corey Putman, I just kind of felt like they wouldn't be a band within 10 years. But I could be wrong about that. But I feel like with this band, I just don't get the vibe that they're going away anytime soon, especially if they're still with a big label like Solid State Records,
Yeah. I could see him putting out another album, maybe 2, but yeah, I don't think there's going to be another 4 or 5 albums from these guys.
No, I don't think so. I would say 2. 2 is probably a good number.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, let's wrap it up here. We got our 3 questions that we do every episode. And for the listeners, if you want to play along with us, tell us your answers to these questions. You got to follow us on Twitter, man, at is survived by pro.
Get the fuck in there.
Get in there, bro. You can tweet at us. Again, is survived by pro. Let us know your favorite album, your favorite song, and what album you would recommend to a brand new listener of O Sleeper. So, Josh, go ahead and start us off. What is your favorite band? What's your favorite album from O Sleeper? That was a heavy question. Don't answer the first one.
When I Am God is my favorite album.
What? I'm so shocked.
Big shocker.
Big shocker, man.
And then my favorite song is also going to be on When I Am God. Probably
the Flagship.
I don't know. I was going to say Vices Like Vipers, but Flagship, I think Flagship has always in my heart been my favorite song on the album. So
okay,
I'm going to go with Flagship. Yeah.
Okay. What album would you recommend to a new listener of O Sleeper?
And on this, we always go most accessible, the most accessible album to somebody who's never listened to the band, possibly even the genre. So I would say probably Son of the Morning. Yeah, probably Son of the Morning, because like you were saying, Children of Fire does start to get kind of dark. And even though there's some songs on there that musically might be a little bit more accessible for people,
right?
Lyrically, I definitely don't think so. So I'm going to say Son of the Morning. I think musically and lyrically, it's the most accessible album. When I'm God, like I feel like it's accessible too, but it gets it gets convoluted. It's like we were talking about lyrically. There's a lot going on there. Musically, it's a little rawer, like it's a little more in your face. It's not as clean as I feel
Tight.
like Son of
Yeah.
the Morning.
Okay. I'm gonna say my favorite album is got to be Son of the Morning. I love the
Okay.
concept. I love everything about that album. Um, Again, it was my first album that I listened to all the way through. Even though Vices Like Vipers was the first song that I heard from O Sleeper. And my favorite song, it was kind of, well, no, my favorite song is The Finisher, which is off of Son of the Morning.
Okay.
It's a brutal song. I feel like with the lyrics and everything, descriptions and such. I feel like it's a brutal, violent song.
Yeah.
Um, for me, the album that I would recommend to a new listener, I'm kind of I'm kind of with you on the Son of the Morning because of it's a little more tighter, it's a little more cleaner. But I feel like this is a band to me personally that you got to start off with their first album and go through like that and kind of feel the progression. If you, I mean, if you're into it,
Yeah.
obviously by the time you get to Children of Fire, you may not be into it because it gets darker. But I feel like even though it is raw and the lyrics are a little more convoluted in When I Am God, I feel like this is a band that you have to start with their first album. Whereas, like, I mean, there's other bands where, oh, hell, I would definitely not recommend a new listener of The Chariot to listen to Everything Is Alive, Everything Is Breathing, even though, I mean, that's a big like deal for the Chariot of like we are a live band and we have a lot of guitar feedback. I feel like that is too much. And at the same time, they kind of got away from a little bit of the music style that was on that album, I feel like. But I feel like this is a band that their first album is, yes, it's raw, it's new, it's, I don't want to say amateur, but it's, I mean, you can tell it's a rookie album in terms of sound. Um, that still sounds bad because it's a really good album, but it's just, again, it's raw. It's a raw sound. But I feel like this is a band that you have to start with their first album and go from there.
Okay.
You get
Fair
what I'm
enough.
saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's other
I mean,
bands
that's
that
my
like their
favorite album.
first
So
album,
yeah.
right? Well, I just feel like there's other bands that like, they have good first albums, but you can tell it's, well, okay, like Every Time I Die. Because didn't you say like their first album is like it's not really different, but I mean it's I don't know. I don't
The
know what I'm trying
first
to say
the
anymore.
first couple are very raw. Like Hot
Right.
Damn, Burial Plot Bidding War, and I think is it Last Night in Town, I think, are all really raw. But then
Well,
like if I'm giving somebody something Every Time I Die to listen to, I'm giving them Gutter Phenomenon or The Big Dirty.
right.
Because those are that's when the band really starts to find their sound, like if you
Right.
like this band at Gutter Phenomenon and Big Dirty, you're going to like them for the rest of the time.
Right. So like the vocalists specifically, I mean their voices on their first album are definitely not the same. Obviously everybody changes, and
It's like
such, but I mean
Dillinger in
it
the
feels
first couple albums.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So but yeah, that was it. Again, if you want to play along with that, we would love to know what your favorite album, your favorite song, and what album you would recommend to a new listener of O Sleeper. But what you got to do is you got to tweet at us at Is Survived by Pro on Twitter. If you're watching this on YouTube, just give us your answers in the comments section. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up too, because we like that. We like thumbs up. And also follow us on Twitter while you're giving us the answers over there too, at Is Survived by Pro. And while you're at it too, go follow this guy over here at Joshua Lynn Gary on Twitter. Make sure to also check out our other podcast. I kind of did that a little bit backwards. So if you're looking for this podcast, Take two. What am I trying to say? Well, Curtis, this is what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say, man. I've lost it.
Or
Give me a
if
second
you want
to
to make
try to
sure and check out the other shows that we have, we've
there we
got
go.
2 other podcasts. The Red Right Hand podcast, which is a rewatch show where we rewatched every episode of the Peaky Blinders, finishing out live with the 6th season when it came out. Then our other show is the Throne
House
of the Dragon. Yeah, the Throne of the Dragon podcast. Which covers every episode of HBO's House of the Dragon, which is Game of Thrones centered.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, if you want to listen to any of those podcasts, go onto your podcast streaming service and you can either type in any of those 3 names or you could look up our company. It's basically an umbrella company that has all 3 shows all together in one. It's called Is Survived by Productions. Okay. You can go there, you find that. You can find all 3 of these shows all in one place. We're trying to make it easy for you guys. Wouldn't you agree, Josh?
Oh, it's so easy.
It's so easy. Even a caveman can do it. I think that's it. Anything else, Josh?
Nope. I think you covered it. Who are we doing next week? Give us the teaser.
This next episode's probably going to be at least, at the minimum, 2-part episode. So get ready for that.
That's generous. I thought you were going to say at minimum a 3-part episode.
I'm
How the fuck? There's
I don't
10 albums. There's
Okay,
10 albums
at
and
a
a lot of
minimum.
like extra shit to talk about.
At a minimum, 5 episodes.
Oh my God.
Okay, wait, you say there was 10 albums?
Yeah.
Okay, at a minimum 10 episodes. No. At a minimum 3 episodes. I'm putting the max at 4. There's no way. I really don't think we should be able to go to 4.
shouldn't
It
be more
should
than
just
a
be 3.
three-parter. Yeah.
It better be just 3. If there's more than 3 episodes, we have just wasted your time.
Then it's now an Every Time I Die podcast.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, it's going to be Every Time I Die for the next 2 episodes, part 1 and part 2, and possibly part 3. More than likely part 3 also.
There's going to be a part 3.
There's going to be a part 3. I think after that, I was thinking about doing the band Touche Amore. Have you listened to them at all, Josh?
I'm familiar with them. I don't know that I've ever
Okay.
listened to like a whole album, but I've definitely heard a few
Okay.
songs.
I was listening to them this last weekend, and I thought of the comment that you made in the last episode about the band Daughters having their songs about like a minute long.
Daughters. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you listen to
and I
Daughters?
was- okay, so I looked up Daughters, and the first video I watched was like a live performance,
Uh-huh.
and the music was good. And I mean, the lyrics were good too, vocals, everything was good. The part that turned me off was they started the show, hey, we're Daughters, yada, yada, yada. Music started kicking in, and they showed the vocalist, and all he was doing was he was taking a big lick of his microphone. And I thought, nah, I'm out. I'm out of here.
Listen to the album Canada Songs.
Canada Songs, okay.
Yeah, 2003. That's a good one.
Anyway, I was reminded of Daughters and what you said because, especially in early Touche Amore songs, especially on the album Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me, like almost all of those songs are like less than a minute and a half, if not like a minute even. I mean, they're one of those bands definitely that gets in and gets out.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm thinking that's going to be the one after that. There was another band I had in mind, but I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But anyway, that's your schedule. Set your calendar up. Make sure to turn on those notifications and everything. Follow us on YouTube and any podcasting services you are using so you can get notified when a new episode is posted. that is going to do it. We will see you in the next episode for a 3-part episode of Every Time I Die. See ya.
Bye.